Well, good evening, everyone. I think we're ready to start the session, and if more people join us, we'll be happy to receive them. I'm going to share my screen, a presentation that I've been working on just to help guide my remarks. So you've made it to the right place. We're glad you're here. Welcome to the open house. We're happy to share our program with you, Educational Studies in the LMU School of Education. My approach to presentations is to keep things very brief, very minimalist. And happy to um, I'm happy to expand on anything. We'll have time for questions as well. We're going to introduce ourselves near the beginning of the session here. So hopefully those who are present are able to share a little bit about themselves. I'd love to get to know the audience better and try to give you an overview of the program. In these, there's lots of sessions that are available and lots of information on the website. You've probably done some of your own research. So I don't want to bombard you with a lot of information. I want to give you the overview of the program and allow for any questions just to see what you all need. So want to introduce myself, talk a little bit about my journey, and then ask you to share who you are and what brings you here tonight. So just a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Ernesto Colin. I'm an associate professor in the School of Education here at LMU in the Department of Teaching and Learning. I'm a first generation college student, child of Mexican immigrants, and I am a former high school teacher. I taught Spanish uh, at local high schools in Culver City and in Lenox by the LAX airport. And I was also a soccer coach and art teacher in those spaces. I was in both charter schools and comprehensive public schools, and it was an amazing experience. And part of what helped me be successful in that space was LMU, because I am a two-time alumnus. I am the first in my family to go to college, and I came to LMU. LMU gave me a, the opportunity to go to college with a financial aid package, and I studied Chicano studies and Spanish with a minor in art at LMU as an undergraduate. I stayed on at LMU and got my teaching credential here at our very own School of Education. And I also got my master's degree in secondary education. So I'm very fortunate to be back teaching on the faculty at the place where I went to school and where I got my credential. In between my master's and my job here on the faculty, I got my PhD at Stanford University Graduate School of Education. I'm trained as an anthropologist of education, and my academic areas of interest are Indigenous education, diversity in schools, um, and instructional technology, things like that. But I'm a generalist, so I'm a chameleon, and I love learning from uh, from colleagues, from students, and really looking at education broadly. So in my role here at the School of Education, I teach lots of different courses that have to do with undergraduate students, teaching credentials, master students that are doing their own research, and I teach in our doctoral program as well, helping students design and execute their dissertations. So I do consider myself a generalist. I'm also, I wear the other hat is I am the academic program director of our educational studies program, the program that you're here to learn about. And I am new to this role, but I've been involved with the program as a faculty member for a very long time. I'm in year 16 of my professional career here on the faculty of LMU. So happy to share a little bit about the program, happy to share a little bit about me. A pretty unique program in the School of Education. I think in the School of Education, we have, something like 30 programs. The vast majority of the programs we have in the School of Education are geared towards I mean, we're a professional school, and so it makes sense that our programs are geared towards getting um, educators the credentials that they need, whether it's an administrative credential to lead schools, a teaching credential to obviously be in the classroom, or credentials to be a school psychologist, a school counselor, or a general practicing counselor. So a lot of these are credential based. But we do have a few programs that are standalone masters and that don't have a credential attached to them. And the educational studies program is one such program where there isn't a teaching credential attached to it. It's got a lot more flexibility. It's not tied to, state standards for, the teaching profession or anything else. So we're happy to have this option for students. I'll go back to sharing um, so I can continue here. Appreciate learning from everybody. I'll talk a little bit about the School of Education. I already begun, but just an overview. I don't know how much you know about the School of Education, but we're proud of what we've done here. I've been a part of the School of Education for 30 years now, both as a student and as a faculty member. And I've seen the School of Education grow. Since I've gotten here, we've tripled in size. We are the #2 Jesuit School of Education in the United States. Um, so we have a very strong reputation in the network of the 28 Jesuit universities across the country. Um, we are the #2 private school of education in California. Um, we rival a lot of the school of educations, obviously. In the state, we're #7 overall in the state of California in terms of a school of education. We know that you have lots of different options, and I want to acknowledge my colleagues and the wonderful programs that are available in the region. I mean, I will acknowledge there's great schools of education um, at at UCLA or USC or Cal State LA, Stanford University, other places like that. But we think that we offer something pretty unique. We are the #1 school of education out of 1,500 schools of education across the entire United States. So you take all the 1,500 schools of education, we're #71. So we're happy to be, recognized, and we get students that come from all over the country to our doctoral program. We have an outstanding doctoral program here we have over 100 students in our doctoral program, and that program has been going for 20 years, and so we draw students from all over the place. We have 36 full-time faculty members in our School of Education, and our class size is around 12 students. So we offer a real personalized education where you won't fall through the cracks, where your professor will know you, you will know your professor, and you will know your classmates, and you'll get a lot of support across the university. So we're happy about the kind of school of education that we are. So some of those things help us stand out. Our Jesuit mission and our Jesuit tradition here, a university that's been here for over 100 years, and being a mid-sized university. We have, somewhere around 10,000 total students across the university in all our schools and colleges, both undergrad and graduate. So it makes us a mid-sized university. We're not a small university, we're mid-sized, which means that there's a lot of beautiful resources across the campus for you. Our, our, our library, our dorms, our athletics programs, our student services, our alumni programs, our events, our writing center, financial aid, international student support, ethnic and intercultural student services. I could go on and on. So we have a lot of resources for you as a student, but we're not big enough where you won't feel community. We're not a school that has 25,000 students where you have to kind of find your own way. And sure, there's resources, but it's tough to navigate sometimes these large universities. And our School of Ed is one of many schools and colleges. Our School of Education is, with only, just under 1,000 students. We have, full-time advisors, full-time faculty to take care of you as well. So we like our position at LMU and where we are and who we are. And I don't know if you've been on campus, but of course, it's a beautiful campus. We have a law school downtown LA. We have our graduate film school of film and television is at a nearby location, and we have our Westchester campus that's actually very beautiful, overlooking the ocean and 5 minutes from LAX airport. So um, we have all of LA to take advantage from. So I know that some of you are in the area or from the area, so you know what LA has to offer in terms of being a global city. So I'll talk a little bit about what we stand for. The acronym that really guides the way that we develop our courses and we conduct ourselves as faculty in the School of Education is the acronym of REAL. And it stands for the following. It stands for respect, educate, advocate, and lead. This is we got together as an entire faculty and we talked about what are the things that really drive us, in terms of our mission, what we want, who we want to be as a school of education. And we came up with this acronym because no matter what course we teach, or no matter what program we're in, whether we are preparing to be school leaders or counselors or teachers or something else in the School of Education, we want our students to emerge from the School of Education being uh, being really culturally competent. So that's where the respect part comes in. We want to train our students to be able to engage, learn from, listen to, be learners um, in the communities that they serve, be responsive to the needs of the community, respect and honor the wealth, the assets, the dignity, and all of the assets and resources that parents and students and their communities bring to the context where we educate. Um, the and also we want to pay attention to issues of equity and justice. So the advocacy and the leadership part is, well, we want to address systemic injustice. We want to change schools and education spaces for the better. So we want to have impact in the field, impact that helps communities that have been marginalized by systems, communities that need ceilings to be broken or doors to be open for opportunities in their lives through education pathways. So these are the kinds of things that we care about. Like we really stand firm on being faculty that mentor students to be real advocates for social justice out there in the community. I think it's something that sets us apart and everybody's really behind and committed to. So that's something that I really want to emphasize when we try not to be just a generic school of education that's just kind of a mill for students to get degrees and get credentials and move people along. We really care about our students, and we want to concentrate on a formation of our students to be real like caring leaders out there in the field. And we have thousands and thousands of alumni of our program out there in the world doing amazing things. If you just look on our website and there's, some of the features of where our alumni are, the kinds of things that they're doing, they're out there all over the place in classrooms, leading school districts, leading philanthropy, leading, schools, doing amazing stuff. So we're proud of sort of our legacy and our focus here. And of course, we are part of the larger, university that has its own mission, the Jesuit and Marymount traditions, and we definitely espouse the mission of the university as a whole. So if I could talk briefly about the program. Again, I don't want to, there's a lot of information and I'm happy to answer to the best of my ability if you have specific questions, but just give you some brief overview. Again, not to bombard you with too much. Educational Studies is a program that we've designed so that students can complete. Some students complete in a year. Sometimes students complete at their own pace, over 2 years or what have you. So it's a 30-unit program. All of our courses are 3 units, so it's 10 courses that you'll take in the program. It's a program that's hybrid. We have courses that are in person. Many of our courses are online. Some of our courses are hybrid. Our courses are evening courses to help working professionals access them. So we have courses that are from 4 to 7 p.m. and other courses that are 7 to 10 p.m. And so, yeah, we want, we mainly cater, obviously, we're a graduate school, we're a professional school, and most of the folks that are with us are working professionals and need to access evening courses. So we try to be flexible with the modality and the timing. The educational studies program, it enjoys the same small class size as the whole School of Ed. You'll have small courses. Most courses will be, they average about 12 students. You'll be in some courses that are 10 students, some courses that will have a maximum of 20 students. So always small courses. And what I think is the central feature of the educational studies program is that it's customized to you and your interests. So we have a set of core courses, and then we have electives that where you and your advisor can craft a program that interests you. So I think the next slide talks a little bit about that. So we have 5 courses that are mandatory for all students in our program, and that we consider the core courses. So the 4 foundational courses that we have in our program is they have longer titles. I abbreviated them here. The courses have longer titles, but you have a course in educational anthropology that looks at diversity in schools. You'll have a course that has to do with curriculum, looking at different curriculum and teaching approaches. You have a course that has to do with assessment and research methods to help you prepare to do your own research. And you have a course on human development that looks at, how people learn. Those are 4 out of the 5 core courses. And usually students take those near the beginning, although it's not mandatory you take them all at once or all at the beginning. But if you remember, I said there's 5 core courses. The 5th one is at the end of that slide. There's the capstone course. At the end of your program, there is a 5th course that's mandatory that's called the capstone course. This is where you will complete a research project. We call it a capstone project. Other universities have like call it a master's thesis or something like that. Well, it's a project where you will design your own research, your own data collection, and your own package, your own project that will be kind of the signature culminating experience of your master's degree. So that's 5. Then the other 5 courses that you'll take are electives. And you and your advisor will get together and look at a menu of courses from across the School of Education. And you even have the possibility of taking courses outside of the School of Education for your electives. You'll create a menu for yourself, a personalized set of electives, 5 of them for yourself. These are just some examples of the kinds of concentrations that our students choose. We have courses in digital learning. We have courses in language and culture, sometimes on bilingual education or other things like that. We have courses in special education, different kinds, and policies and practices, adaptive technology, things like that. We have courses in socio-emotional wellness and counseling and trauma-informed education, for example. We also have courses in policy and administration and school leadership. Some students are interested in those arenas. So a lot of students choose sort of a focus, a concentration, and they look for courses across the School of Education that are in that arena and take courses there. If they have a particular interest, some students want to survey and be generalized, and so they'll start picking courses in all the different areas. Like I said, you have the option of a maximum of 2 courses outside of the School of Education. Now, this is, you work with your advisor to make sure it all works out and what's possible. But there are a few courses, across the university that may interest you. We sometimes have students taking course in the School of Business or the School of Film and Television or, the School of Communication and Fine Arts to help supplement their interest there. So again, 10 courses make up the Educational Studies Masters. 5 are the core, 5 electives for you. Students finish the program in different cycles. We have some students that are able to go full time and they finish in one calendar year. Two, they'll take 2 summers and 2 semesters to finish. Most students take about 2 years to finish. If they're working, if they're doing other things, and they'll take approximately 2 courses per semester or per term and finish in 2 years. But again, that you can work that out with your advisor. So a little bit about the application process. Again, the graduate admissions office is here for you. I won't go into all the nitty-gritty details, but the graduate admissions office has the website and the application process, and they'll help you through the whole process. But basically, we have cycles of admission for this program. Students can be admitted in the fall. They could be admitted in the spring. They can be admitted in the summer. So we have different different terms where a student can enter the educational studies program. You don't have to wait to the fall. We have some students that just started in the spring. We'll have some students they'll start in the summer and so forth. So, usually there's a deadline that's advisable for getting into each term. If you want to start in the summer, March 15th is you should be admitted by then, and so on and so forth. So it allows you to register and start. So we have these cycles of admissions, but it's kind of on a rolling basis. So to apply to our program, you need the graduate application, um, and you need letters of recommendation. You need a statement of intent, a brief statement where you talk about your interest in the program, and a current resume. Um, and that's pretty much it. What happens is that application comes to the School of Education, and our admissions team looks at it. Then it comes to me. If all the pieces are complete, it comes to me, and usually there's a brief and low stakes, low pressure interview that I do with all applicants. And then if you're accepted into the program, you'll get connected to an advisor and start picking your classes. I wanted to put on screen my email, just in case you have any questions after today's session and you'd like to reach out to me. I'd be happy to stay in touch and contact with you. Most faculty and staff have emails that are their first name dot last name at lmu.edu. So mine is that way, ernesto.colin@lmu.edu. My office is in University Hall in the 2600 suite. And you can obviously find more about me at on the university website. If you ever forget, you can find me in the faculty list of the School of Education. Please reach out if you have any questions. Right now, I will stop and see if there are any questions from the audience.
Hi, I actually do have a question.
Please.
I was just wondering, kind of what's the process for getting matched with an advisor? Is it like based on what you want to study, or is there, I was just wondering how that would kind of happen.
Yes, I want to make sure that we are using the same definition of advisor. Like some universities match you with like a professor that's an academic advisor. Uh, um, in the School of Ed at LMU, what we have are advisors that are academic advisors. That's their whole job. So for this, we have a whole set of advisors, and they advise different programs. So for educational studies, master's degree, um, Terry Taylor is our advisor. So she takes care of all the students in our program. So you'll meet with her, and she'll be with you throughout your whole program, and she helps you select classes. Now, um, if you ever need um, advice, mentorship, other kind of advising, professional, academic, research-wise from the faculty of the School of Ed, then you're more than welcome to reach out and start conversations, a dialogue, and a mentoring relationship with faculty. Of course, I am the academic program director for for educational studies, and so I'm also a resource. In addition to Terry, our student advisor, I'm the academic program director. I oversee the program, so I'm also a resource for anything that you might need. So the so in terms of getting matched up, there isn't a mystery or a process for that. It's automatic. We have one advisor for this program. You'll you'll get matched up automatically with her, and then she'll be with you throughout your career. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that was perfect. Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
So I see a question in the chat from Alexis and asking about some other career pathways that one can follow after the MA of Educational Studies. Yeah, I think I mentioned some of the things that people have been doing after they emerge from our program. It's really pretty wide open. Um, what 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 the educational studies program is really attractive to students who are not necessarily on a track for teaching or a specific school administration, like being a assistant principal or principal, or trying to be a licensed school counselor or a licensed school psychologist. So uh, students come to us when they're interested in careers that where a generalist education masters will support them. So um, we've had students that are working in like the nonprofit sector, for example. They work for philanthropies that fund education research or that they fund different things in the arena of education, for example, whether it's giving money to schools for lunch programs or field trips or summer enrichment or outdoor education or you know adaptive equipment or stuff like that. There are lots of organizations that are in the education arena. So there's a lot of individuals that are out there working in those areas. And a master's degree in a general education supports that so that maybe they're coming from different fields, maybe they study different things as undergraduates, and looking at education or having that master's degree in education helps them in in their career in those arenas. We also have students that are working in di school districts, and some school districts are large. They're working at systems levels, right? So sometimes there are people that are working in parent outreach, or they're working on the technical side of the website at LAUSD, or they're helping run you know, teacher support programs at the district or something like that. So they're not necessarily in K-12 schools, they're at the district level for some reason, or they're at the county office of education, or they're at the state office of education, or they work in Sacramento with the education committee. So they're not necessarily in the day-to-day uh, context of schools, but a master's degree in education will support them to be better in those professions. Some people are in education law. Some people are doing they are in public relations firms that support schools and school districts. Some people are working for textbook companies. Some people are working for educational technology companies that are designing apps for teachers or apps for students or apps for learning a new language or something like that. And they want a master's degree, a generalist master's degree in education to help support their career in educational technology. Some people work for professional organizations that are more in the what would you say, the social work arena, right? They work with supporting foster youth, or they work with supporting students that are incarcerated, for example, that are in juvenile hall, but they need to complete their education. And they're social workers in the juvenile hall, and they're supporting students in their education pathway. So sometimes a master's degree in education that's more general supports them. Those are just some examples off the top of my head. It's sort of our program is sort of a catch-all for people that are in education spaces all over the place that aren't necessarily looking for a teaching credential or admin credential or school counselor credential. I don't know if that helps answer the question, but it's pretty broad, pretty broad. I've had students that are interested in being nannies, for example. They're nannies for families, and they want an education degree to help them be better nannies or caretakers. Some of our students, I'm just trying to think about my current students. Some of my current students are interested in coaching. So the ed studies master's degree helps it helps their resume for when they want to be coaches at different schools and universities. Other some of my other students currently are working for organizations like Heal the Bay. They're educators that take students on field trips to look at environmental pollution and cleaning up the beaches in LA County, for example. So that's their full-time job to work for the nonprofit Heal the Bay. But they work with youth in educating them about environmental science and pollution and beach cleanups and marine life and stuff like that. So our program helps them. I've had a lot of students that are substitute teachers, um, different things like that. I feel like I've talked a lot, but hopefully that gives you a sense of just kind of how broad things can be. Happy to take any other questions now, or of course, you can reach out if you have any at any point in time. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If there are no other questions, in the chat, you have some other sessions that are available for you today for financial aid or international admissions or career and professional development, where you can also ask about how these programs can be a springboard for you and what resources we have. We have a whole office dedicated to career and professional development to help our students find jobs out in the field and help develop their resumes and their job applications and everything else. So we have wonderful resources for local students, international students. Many of you might have questions about financial aid and so forth. So um, wonderful. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good luck with your journeys. I hope that you consider us and hope to see you sometime in the future.